The discovery. In the vast expanse of space, humanity had always been searching for signs that they weren't alone. But when the signal finally came, it wasn't from where anyone expected. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the control room of the Lunar Deep Space Array, her eyes fixed on the data streaming across her holographic display. The signal wasn't coming from any of the usual survey sectors. It was emanating from the void between the stars. "Run it again," she ordered, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. The massive array of radio telescopes, spanning the dark side of the moon, adjusted their focus with microscopic precision. The signal remained, pulsing with an impossible regularity that defied natural explanation. Within hours, every major space agency on Earth was analyzing the data. The signal carried something unprecedented: blueprints. Not for weapons or faster-than-light drives, as science fiction had always predicted, but for something far more fundamental: a method of surviving the void itself. Admiral James Rodriguez stood before the United Earth Council 6 months later, his weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of holographic projections. The void shield technology encoded in the signal isn't just theoretical anymore, he announced, gesturing to the massive construction taking shape in Earth's orbit. The INS Pathfinder will be humanity's first true interstellar vessel. The ship was unlike anything humanity had built before. Instead of trying to punch through space with brute force like their previous designs, the Pathfinder was designed to embrace the void. It's tall, composed of metamaterials that shouldn't have been possible with Earth's technology level, could adapt to and harness the quantum foam of space itself. Dr. Chen, now the chief scientist of the Pathfinder project, worked tirelessly with her international team to integrate the alien technology with human innovation. The original blueprints were just the beginning, she explained to her crew. We've improved upon them, made them our own. The aliens, whoever they are, gave us a canvas, but the painting is entirely human. The Pathfinder grew in orbit, its construction uniting humanity in a way no previous project had managed. Chinese quantum computers worked in harmony with American fabrication units, while Indian programmers collaborated with Russian engineers to create systems that pushed the boundaries of human achievement. But not everyone was convinced this gift from the stars came without strings. Admiral Rodriguez faced constant questioning from security councils and public forums alike. "What if it's a trap?" they asked. "What if we're building our own prison?" The Admiral's response never wavered. "Humanity has never advanced by cowering in fear. We take precautions, yes, but we move forward. Always forward." The day of launch arrived faster than anyone expected. The Pathfinder's crew of 300 represented the finest minds Earth had to offer, chosen not just for their expertise, but for their ability to think beyond conventional boundaries. Dr. Chen stood on the bridge beside Captain Maya Patel, watching Earth shrink in their view screens. "Initial void shield test in 5 minutes, Captain Patel announced, her voice carrying across the ship's communications network. The crew held their breath as the revolutionary system powered up for the first time in real space. The effect was immediate and breathtaking. The standard stars of their visible universe seemed to shift, revealing patterns and pathways that had always been there but had remained hidden to human eyes. The void between stars wasn't empty at all. It was a complex web of energy and possibility. "This is why they sent us the blueprints," Dr. Chen whispered, understanding dawning in her eyes. "They didn't give us a ship design. They gave us the ability to see the true nature of space itself." The Pathfinder's maiden voyage was planned as a relatively short jump to Alpha Centauri, a mere 4.37 light-years away. But as the ship's sensors mapped the newly visible pathways through the void, they detected something else: evidence of massive void shield signatures, far more powerful than their own, converging on their position from multiple directions. Admiral Rodriguez, watching from Earth's control center, received the transmission with a mix of anticipation and concern. "Ladies and gentlemen," he addressed the global audience watching the historic moment, "I believe we're about to find out why we were chosen to receive this gift. The void shields of the approaching vessels illuminated space in ways that defied conventional physics. The Pathfinder's crew watched in awe as massive ships, each displaying different configurations of void shield technology, decelerated into normal space around them. A transmission reached them, carried not by conventional radio waves, but through the void shield network itself. The message was simple: "Welcome, humans. You have taken your first step into a much larger universe." Dr. Chen and Captain Patel exchanged glances. Humanity had indeed built something revolutionary, but they were beginning to realize that the Pathfinder wasn't just humanity's first interstellar ship. It was their ticket to join an ancient network of civilizations that traveled the paths between stars. As the alien ships moved to form an honor guard around the Pathfinder, Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through the ship's communications. "Dr. Chen, Captain Patel, you have new orders. Don't stop at Alpha Centauri. Let's see where this path leads us." The Pathfinder's void shields hummed with power, and ahead of them, the universe opened up in ways humanity had never dreamed possible. Their journey was just beginning, and with it, humanity's role in the galaxy was about to change forever. The assembly. The INS Pathfinder glided through the void alongside its escort of alien vessels, each ship's void shields creating a symphony of quantum interactions that Dr. Chen's instruments struggled to fully measure. The alien fleet had guided them to what they called the Nexus, a massive space station suspended in the darkness between three dying stars. Captain Patel stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes reflecting the ghostly light of the station. "It's like looking at a city built from starlight," she murmured. The Nexus was a sprawling structure that seemed to defy conventional engineering, its crystalline spires and sweeping archways flowing like liquid metal in space. "The Nexus serves as the central gathering point for the Voidwalkers Alliance," explained their guide, a being who called itself First Speaker Zix. The creature's form was difficult for human eyes to track, its body composed of what appeared to be living light contained within a semi-transparent membrane. 27 species currently hold membership. You are the first new civilization to successfully develop void shield technology in over 10,000 years. Dr. Chen couldn't contain her scientific curiosity. "The blueprints you sent us, they were a test, weren't they? To see how we would adapt and improve upon them." The first speaker's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Indeed, many civilizations receive the blueprints. Most either ignore them, believing them to be a hoax, or follow them exactly, never questioning or innovating. Your species took our basic principles and evolved them into something uniquely your own. That is why you are here." The Pathfinder docked at the Nexus, and a delegation from Earth prepared to meet the assembly of Voidwalkers. Admiral Rodriguez, having arrived through another vessel, joined Captain Patel and Dr. Chen. His presence had been specifically requested by the assembly. The meeting chamber was vast, with representatives from each member species arranged in tiered seating that spiraled up into the darkness above. Some appeared almost human, while others defied description. Beings of pure energy, crystalline entities that sang their thoughts, and creatures that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. First Speaker Zix addressed the assembly, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "The humans have demonstrated not just the ability to understand void technology, but to innovate upon it. Their achievements in merely 6 months surpass what many civilizations accomplish in centuries." A murmur rippled through the assembly. Not all of it sounded pleased. A crystalline entity chimed forth, its thoughts translating as sharp, concerned notes. "They are young, untested. Their history is marked by conflict and division. Can we trust them with the deeper secrets of the void?" Admiral Rodriguez stepped forward, his voice steady and clear. "We don't deny our past or our struggles, but it is precisely because of our history that we understand the value of cooperation and growth. Humanity has learned from its mistakes, united in ways we once thought impossible." Pretty words resonated a being of swirling plasma, but actions speak louder. Show us why we should accept you among us. Dr. Chen activated a holographic display, showcasing the modifications they'd made to the Void Shield technology. We didn't just replicate your design, she explained. We found ways to harmonize it with quantum entanglement, allowing for more efficient energy distribution and stronger field stability. But more importantly, we discovered something you may not have known was possible. She nodded to Captain Patel, who sent a command to the Pathfinder. The ship's void shields shifted, creating a cascade effect that rippled through the quantum fabric of space. The shields of every ship docked at the Nexus pulsed in response, their energy output suddenly optimizing to new levels. The assembly chamber erupted in a chaos of reactions. The crystalline beings chimed in harmonic amazement, while the energy creatures pulsed with intense frequencies of interest. First Speaker Zix's form brightened considerably. Impossible, vibrated a mechanical entity composed of interlocking geometric shapes. The void shields were perfected millennia ago. How did you achieve this optimization? By thinking differently, Captain Patel explained. We didn't approach the void shields as just a means of transportation or protection. We saw them as a way to communicate, to connect. Every shift shield can resonate with others, creating a network that strengthens all. This is why we choose to test new civilizations, First Speaker Zix announced to the assembly. The void between stars holds mysteries even we don't fully understand. Fresh perspectives, new ways of thinking. These are essential for our continued growth. The crystalline entity that had first voiced concerns now sang a different tune, its notes carrying curiosity rather than suspicion. Perhaps we have grown too comfortable in our knowledge, too set in our ways. Admiral Rodriguez seized the moment. We don't come seeking to overturn your society or challenge your authority. We come offering partnership, a chance to explore and grow together. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our intelligence. It's our ability to look at the impossible and see possibilities. The assembly deliberated, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of thought and debate that filled the chamber. Finally, First Speaker Zix raised its luminescent form to its full height. The assembly has reached a consensus, it announced. Humanity will be granted provisional membership in the Void Walkers Alliance, with full rights to participate in our exchange of knowledge and exploration initiatives. But even as the human delegation accepted this honor, Dr. Chen noticed something troubling. In the upper tiers of the chamber, several representatives had withdrawn into shadows, their forms radiating frequencies that her instruments interpreted as deep concern, or perhaps something darker. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, but she couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The void between stars held many secrets, and not all of them would be welcome ones. Rising Storm. 3 months into humanity's provisional membership in the Void Walkers Alliance, the optimism of first contact began to fade. Dr. Chen found herself working late in her laboratory aboard the Nexus, analyzing data from the Void Shield network when her instruments detected an anomaly. The quantum frequencies used by several Alliance ships were operating in patterns she'd never seen before, almost like they were trying to hide something. Captain Patel entered the lab, her usual composed demeanor showing signs of strain. We have a situation, Sarah. 3 human exploration vessels have gone missing in the past week. The Alliance Council claims they have no information about their whereabouts. That's impossible, Dr. Chen responded, pulling up a holographic display of the Void Shield network. Every ship leaves quantum traces. Unless, she paused, her eyes widening as she connected the dots. Unless someone's using our own shield modifications to mask their movements. The door to the lab sealed suddenly, and First Speaker Zix materialized from what appeared to be empty space. Your intuition serves you well, Dr. Chen. We need to talk, and what I'm about to tell you must remain between us. The luminescent being's form dimmed to a somber glow as it explained. There is a faction within the Alliance that believes we made a mistake in contacting humanity. They call themselves the Preservers, and they've existed almost as long as the Alliance itself. They believe that only species that discover void shield technology entirely on their own should be allowed to join our community. But you're the one who sent us the blueprints, Captain Patil interjected. You're the first speaker. I am now. Zix's form pulsed with what seemed like regret. But the decision to contact humanity wasn't unanimous. The preservers were overruled, and now they're taking matters into their own hands. Dr. Chen's hands flew over her holographic controls, correlating data. The missing ships, the unusual shield frequencies, they're building up to something. But what? Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through their secure channel, adding urgency to the situation. Whatever they're planning, it's already in motion. We're detecting massive void shield signatures converging on Earth. The preservers are making their move. The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Pathfinder, along with a hastily assembled fleet of Allied vessels, rushed back to Earth. They arrived to find a standoff already in progress. A dozen preserver ships, their void shields modified to generate weapons-grade energy fields, held position around Earth. Their demands were simple but chilling. Humanity would surrender all void shield technology and withdraw from the Alliance, or Earth would be cut off from normal space. Trapped in a void field, it would make interstellar travel impossible. Captain Patil stood on the Pathfinder's bridge, facing the main view screen where a preserver leader, a crystalline being whose facets gleamed with cold purpose, delivered their ultimatum. You were given knowledge you didn't earn. The preservers' thoughts rang through their minds. The natural order must be preserved. Surrender now, and your planet will remain unharmed. Refuse, and you will be isolated until you develop void technology independently, as nature intended. Dr. Chen worked frantically at her station, analyzing the preservers' shield configurations. Their fields are unlike anything we've encountered, she reported. They've taken our optimization algorithms and weaponized them. A void fence around Earth would be catastrophic. It would cut us off from everything, even our lunar colonies. Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through clear and determined from his position on Earth. We didn't come this far to be bullied back into isolation. Dr. Chen, you understand their shield technology better than anyone. Can you find a weakness? Not a weakness, she responded, her eyes lighting up with sudden inspiration. But maybe something better. Captain, remember what we said at the assembly about void shields being a network, a way to connect. Understanding dawned on Captain Patil's face. You want to link with them? That's incredibly risky. Their shields are configured for warfare. Exactly. Dr. Chen's fingers flew over her console. But that's not what the technology was meant for. The void shields don't just let us traverse space. They let us understand it, connect with it, and through it, connect with each other. The Pathfinder's shields began to pulse with a new frequency, one that resonated not with aggression but with harmony. Dr. Chen's modifications spread through the quantum fabric of space, touching every ship in the vicinity. The effect was subtle at first, but grew stronger with each passing moment. The preservers' weapons-grade fields began to shift, their aggressive harmonics transforming into something else. Through the void shield network, every ship, human, preserver, and alliance alike, began to share information, not just tactical data, but deeper truths, memories, feelings, understanding. The preservers experienced humanity's journey firsthand, the wonder of discovering the blueprints, the joy of innovation, the pride of achievement. In turn, humans felt the preservers' deep commitment to natural development, their fear of chaos, their desire to protect the cosmic order. This is what the void shields were truly designed for. First speaker Zix's voice resonated through the network, not to separate us, but to unite us, to help us understand each other across the gulf of space and consciousness. The standoff didn't end immediately. Deeply held beliefs rarely change in an instant, but the groundwork for understanding had been laid. The preservers withdrew their weapons, and negotiations began for a new way forward. As the crisis subsided, Dr. Chen stood with Captain Patel and First Speaker Zix, watching Earth rotate peacefully below them. "We still have much to prove," she said quietly. "Yes," Zix agreed, its form glowing with renewed hope. "But today you proved something vital, that the greatest power of void technology isn't in its capacity for isolation or warfare, but in its ability to bridge the gaps between us. Perhaps that was the real test all along." Evolution. The void shield hummed with a new resonance now. In the months following the Preserver crisis, Dr. Chen's breakthrough in shield harmonics had revolutionized interstellar communication. The nexus itself had been transformed, its crystalline spires now pulsing with the combined consciousness of dozens of species sharing knowledge and experience across the quantum network. Admiral Rodriguez stood in the newly constructed Earth Embassy aboard the Nexus, watching holographic displays of human ships working alongside alien vessels throughout the galaxy. "If you had told me a year ago that our first major crisis in space would be solved through empathy rather than weapons, I wouldn't have believed it." "That's precisely why it worked," Captain Patel replied, studying the latest reports from the joint human-alien exploration teams. "We surprised them. Everyone expected us to fight back with force. Instead, we chose understanding." The door chimed, admitting First Speaker Zix and a delegation of former preservers. The crystalline beings had become some of humanity's strongest advocates after experiencing their memories and motivations through the Void Shield network. Their leader, who called itself Unity, chimed with harmonic anticipation. "The Council has reached a decision regarding humanity's status," Zix announced, its luminescent form bright with positive energy. "In light of recent events, your provisional membership will be upgraded. But more than that, they wish to propose something unprecedented." Dr. Chen looked up from her work at a nearby console, her curiosity piqued. The Void Shield network had been delivering strange readings lately, patterns that suggested something massive stirring in the depths of space. "What kind of proposal?" "We want humanity to lead the Deep Void Initiative." Unity resonated, its crystalline structure refracting light in patterns of excitement. "Your species has shown a unique ability to innovate, to see patterns where others see only chaos. We believe you are ready to help us face our greatest challenge." Holographic displays activated, showing vast regions of space between the galaxies. Data streamed across the screens, quantum fluctuations, void shield anomalies, and patterns that defied conventional physics. Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward, his eyes narrowing as he studied the information. "The void shields weren't just given to us as a means of travel, were they?" he asked, beginning to understand. "There's something out there in the deep void, something you've been preparing for." Zix's form dimmed slightly. "We detected the first signals millennia ago. Patterns in the quantum foam, disturbances in the very fabric of space-time. Something vast is moving between the galaxies, something that exists in dimensions we're only beginning to comprehend. We've been searching for species with the potential to help us understand and potentially communicate with these entities." "And you think we're ready for this?" Captain Patel asked, her voice a mix of skepticism and excitement. "We've barely mastered void shield technology." "But you've mastered something far more important," Unity chimed. "Adaptation. Innovation. The ability to see beyond conventional limitations. Your solution to the Preserver crisis proved that." Dr. Chen was already running simulations, her mind racing with possibilities. "The Void Shield network, it's not just for communication between ships, is it? It's a prototype, a way to potentially communicate with these deep void entities." "Precisely," Zix confirmed. "And your modifications to the network have brought us closer to that goal than we've been in thousands of years. The question is, will humanity join us in this endeavor?" The implications were staggering. Humanity had barely taken its first steps into interstellar space, and now they were being asked to help make first contact with entities that existed beyond normal space-time. The risks were enormous, but so were the possibilities. Admiral Rodriguez shared a look with Captain Patel and Dr. Chen. They didn't need the Void Shield network to know they were thinking the same thing. This was why humanity had always looked to the stars, not just to explore, but to understand, to connect, to grow. "We'll need to modify the Pathfinder," Dr. Chen said, already pulling up ship schematics. "The void shields will need to be reconfigured for deep space operation. We'll have to develop new ways to process and interpret the quantum signals. And we'll need to establish new protocols for potential contact scenarios." Captain Patel added, her tactical mind already analyzing the challenges ahead. "We can't assume these entities will perceive reality the way we do." Admiral Rodriguez smiled, recognizing the familiar human traits of enthusiasm and determination in face of the unknown. "I take it that's a yes." Zix pulsed with amusement. "That's a yes," Rodriguez confirmed. "But we do this together, humans, preservers, all Alliance species. Whatever's out there in the deep void, we'll face it as one." Unity chimed in agreement, its crystalline structure resonating with the quantum frequencies of the Void Shield network. Through the network, other species added their own forms of agreement. The barriers between civilizations were breaking down, replaced by a shared sense of purpose and adventure. Dr. Chen turned back to her console, but paused, a thought occurring to her. "You know what this means, don't you? Those blueprints you sent us, they weren't just a test. They were an invitation to join something greater than ourselves. And you answered in ways we never expected." Zix's form brightened. "Now shall we see what mysteries the deep void holds?" As if in response, the Void Shield network pulsed with new energy. Somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, something ancient and unknowable stirred, and humanity prepared to take its next great leap into the unknown. Transcendence. The INS Pathfinder drifted at the edge of known space, its modified void shields resonating with frequencies never before achieved by any Alliance vessel. Dr. Chen stood at her station, monitoring the quantum fluctuations that rippled through the deep void. Around the ship, a fleet of Alliance vessels held position, their shields synchronized in a vast network of consciousness and technology. "Deep void entity approaching," she announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Quantum signatures matched the patterns we've been tracking. "It's big, bigger than anything we've encountered." Captain Patel nodded, her hands resting lightly on the command console. The bridge crew, a mix of humans and Alliance species, worked with practiced efficiency. Unity, their crystalline preserver ally, chimed softly as it processed data from its station. "All ships reporting ready." First Speaker Zix announced from its position near the main viewport. "The Void Shield network is stable and operating at peak efficiency." The entity's approach was unlike anything they'd prepared for. It didn't move through space so much as it moved space itself, creating ripples in reality that their instruments struggled to comprehend. Through the viewport, they could see stars blinking in and out of existence as space-time flexed around the massive presence. "Shield harmonics are holding," Dr. Chen reported, making minute adjustments to the quantum field. "Beginning initial contact sequence." The Void Shield network came alive with new energy as they implemented the communication protocols they'd developed. It wasn't just a transmission of data, it was an offering of consciousness itself, a bridge between different ways of perceiving reality. At first, there was nothing but cosmic static, the background noise of the universe. Then, something changed. The void shields began to pulse with patterns they'd never seen before, creating cascading waves of quantum information that flooded their sensors. "It's responding," Unity chimed excitedly, its crystalline structure refracting light in complex patterns. "But the data, it's unlike anything in our records." Dr. Chen's fingers flew over her console as she analyzed the incoming signals. "It's not just communicating through the void shields, it's reshaping them, showing us new ways to use the technology. The quantum harmonics are evolving into something new." The entity's presence grew stronger, and with it came understanding. Not in words or images, but in pure concepts that bloomed directly in their minds. It showed them visions of the cosmos that defied their comprehension. universes within universes, dimensions folded upon dimensions, and bridges across space and time that made their void shield technology look primitive by comparison. It's not just one entity, Captain Patel realized, her eyes wide as she processed the information flooding through the network. It's many, working as one. A civilization that transcended physical form ages ago. They've been watching us. Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through from the support vessel where he coordinated the fleet. All of us. The void shields were more than a test. They were a way for these beings to observe how different species would use their technology. The entity's message became clearer as they learned to interpret its unique form of communication. It revealed that the void between stars wasn't empty at all. It was alive with intelligence, populated by civilizations that had evolved beyond physical form. The void shields were their way of reaching out, of preparing younger species for contact. They want to share knowledge with us, Dr. Chen announced, her voice filled with wonder. Not just scientific knowledge, but understanding about the nature of existence itself. They're offering to teach us, all of us, how to evolve beyond our current limitations. The offer came with a choice. The entity showed them two paths. They could continue as they were, using the void shields for interstellar travel and communication, or they could take the next step, beginning a journey of transformation that would eventually lead them to transcend their physical forms and join the community of deep void entities. Captain Patel opened the Void Shield network to all ships in the fleet, sharing the entity's message with every species present. This isn't a decision any one species can make alone, she declared. Whatever we choose together. Through the network, they felt the reactions of their allies. Fear, excitement, uncertainty, and wonder mixed together in a symphony of consciousness. The preservers who had once resisted change now chimed with anticipation at the possibilities before them. Other species added their own thoughts and feelings to the collective discussion. Dr. Chen studied the quantum data streaming through her console, understanding dawning in her eyes. The void shields, they weren't just tools for traveling space. They were teaching us how to reach across the boundaries between minds, between forms of consciousness. Everything we've learned, every advancement we've made, was preparing us for this moment. First Speaker Zix's form pulsed with brilliant light. Perhaps this is why humanity's approach to the technology was so important. You didn't just use it. You sought to understand it, to connect through it. You showed us all a new way forward. The entity waited patiently as the Alliance species deliberated. Hours passed as discussions flowed through the Void Shield network, each civilization contributing its perspective to the momentous decision they faced. Finally, Captain Patel stood, her voice carrying across the network to all ships in the fleet. We've reached a consensus. We choose to learn, to grow, to evolve. But we do it our way, at our pace. We accept your offer of knowledge, but we want to maintain our current forms while we study and understand these new possibilities. The entity's response came as a wave of approval that resonated through the void shields. Images flooded their minds, glimpses of the journey ahead, the challenges and discoveries that awaited them. The void shields would be their tools, their teachers, helping them gradually understand and adapt to new forms of existence. As the Pathfinder's crew began establishing more permanent communication protocols with the entity, Dr. Chen couldn't help but smile. Humanity had taken its first steps into the stars less than a year ago, and now they stood at the threshold of an even greater adventure. You know what this means, she said to Captain Patel and their assembled allies. Everything we've learned about void shield technology, everything we thought we knew about space and time and consciousness, it's just the beginning. The void shields pulsed with new energy as the entity shared its first lessons, and the assembled fleet of Earth and Alliance ships prepared to embark on humanity's greatest journey yet. They had started as void walkers, but they would become something far more. Pioneers on the path to transcendence, guided by beings who had made the journey eons ago. The stars seemed to shine brighter as the fleet turned toward home, carrying with them the promise of a future that none of them could have imagined when they first looked up at the night sky. and dreamed of reaching out to touch the void.